So let's go ahead and get started. Again, welcome to the information session for the Early Validation Academy. So a few things that we want to cover today. What is One Philadelphia? What is the Early Validation Academy? What are the goals that we're trying to achieve through this program? The format of the program and what that looks like in terms of you as a participant, next steps, and then of course a round of questions and answers before we wrap up tonight. One Philadelphia, as I mentioned, is a coalition of stakeholders working together to make our city the capital of equitable tech and innovation. And we identified a few ways that we feel like that process can be done. The first is community cultivation. The goal is to foster and strengthen collaboration amongst Philly's existing and emerging tech equity organizations. Through that process, we offer meetups, local events. We work with community investments, situations like this, as far as the EVA is concerned, investing back into the community, investing into underrepresented tech founders, providing opportunities for them to launch their startups, and then also our overall operational infrastructure as an organization. The second factor in that is access and upskilling. We want to become an accessible entry point and training ground for any Philadelphian who wants a career in tech. We achieve that through programming, training, and youth education. We partner with a number of nonprofit organizations that are located here in the city of Philadelphia that are focused on workforce development, training as far as tech skills are concerned, and also support for entrepreneurs who are going through the process of launching their startup. And then the third piece is talent development. We want to nurture the talent that's here in Philadelphia while also attracting folks to make Philadelphia the capital of equitable tech and innovation. And that process would include signature events, working with groups like the Chamber of Commerce, Amplify Philly, BPHL, organizations along those lines, to just showcase the talent that Philadelphia has here, but also to remind everyone who lives here in Philadelphia that it's a great city that you can stay in and build a company and be successful here without having to go to the West Coast or some of the other sites. So those are the areas that we are really focusing on as an organization from the One Philadelphia standpoint to achieve that goal of making Philadelphia the capital of equitable tech and innovation. Just a few folks that are involved in the process as far as the Early Validation Academy and One Philadelphia is concerned. Our founder is Sylvester Mobley, who is also the founder and manager partner of Plainsight Capital. You may also know Sylvester as the CEO of Coded by Kids. And I didn't mention, but One Philadelphia is an initiative that was started by Coded by Kids, along with Comcast, Bank of America, the Department of Commerce, the Linfest Foundation, as well as Red Nose Day, to really address the issue of equity when we talk about tech opportunities here in the city of Philadelphia. And Sylvester has been a champion for that for many years and is definitely looking to advocate for tech startups and folks here in the city of Philadelphia who are looking to begin their business and need that help. And that's what the Early Validation Academy is really focused on doing, is helping you get to the point where you can launch that startup. As I mentioned, Rudy J. Ellis. Rudy is also, as he mentioned, on our advisory council, but he's also the CEO of Switchboard Live. He's going to serve as your lead facilitator for this program. He has years of insight, really great, really good working with Rudy, but he's also somebody who I feel like would be very easy to talk to and communicate with throughout the course of this process. And we'll talk a little bit about what that looks like in terms of interactions throughout the course of the various weeks of the program. Danae Mobley is the director of One Philadelphia. She also serves as the chief operating officer of Coded by Kids. She is actually out in Cincinnati this evening attending Black Tech Week. And as I mentioned, we're always out looking to advocate for the city of Philadelphia, but also looking for opportunities to expand our reach and partner with other cities to make sure that we can showcase the best that Philadelphia has to offer. And again, my name is Damon McWhite. I'm the program manager for One Philadelphia. And also I work with the folks over at Coded by Kids in terms of collaboration in areas of amplifying the message as far as getting kids into coding. So, Rudy, do you want to take it from here? What is the Early Validation Academy?
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for that intro. So everyone has ideas. Everyone, thinks of these new ideas that they want to embark on, especially if you're an entrepreneur, right? And so Early Validation Academy the goal is to really provide a framework, right? So that we can support mostly obviously underrepresented, founders, and identifying and validating that core problem before you begin to write a line of code, before you begin to do any marketing, activity. We want you to make sure that the idea that you have makes sense, it has legs, and it's something that you want to pursue, because being an entrepreneur and building a product, there's a lot that's involved. And so we believe in a lot of the teachings and learnings and understanding of having a successful framework where you can put that idea through, and then at the end of it, see if it does make sense based off of data, based off of user research. And then from that point on, you're ready and set up to go and build an MVP, which is the goal for that, is get something out there for other people to experience as well. And the reason why you want to have a framework is because 90% of startups fail, right? There's so many stats out there regarding that, and that's scary, right? Think about if everything that happened, 90% of the time it wouldn't work, or it's not going to, succeed. And so our goal is, how can we help reduce that statistic and make that success a lot higher? And having a framework to do that is definitely necessary, because that's crazy when you see something like, that 90% of startups fail.
Yeah.
And some of the reasons why, startups fail is these are like top 5, right? And different percentages attribute to that 90%, running out of cash, right? Obviously, as a CEO, as a founder, you definitely need cash to keep your company up and running, right? And so that could definitely be a problem, as why startups fail. Poor product market fit, right? And that's emphasized because that's really where we're focusing in our efforts, is to really, again, validate and build that framework so that, the idea I have does make sense. It is solving a real problem. There's a need for this. People are willing to pay money, come out their pockets, and continue on with that. And so really combating that, poor product market fit is really where we believe a ton of the things that we're going to be doing in the Early Validation Academy will help with that. And then lastly, well, not lastly, but the other couple of options that are there is competition, right? So not being properly positioned to go against competition. Competition can be definitely good, but not being able to identify where you sit at in the world of competition is definitely a reason why, startups fail. Poor business model, and not, again, having a system in place to validate, is this going to work, based off of paying customers, right, or getting revenue in the door. So business model is definitely attributed to that. And then the last thing is team problems. Who's your co-founder? Who are other people that you bring aboard your company to help you with the goal of building this startup? You hear about some of the unfortunate stories, co-founded dramas, or divorce that may happen. These are some of the things that definitely are real elements that happen within startups. And so our goal, again, at One Philadelphia's Early Validation Academy, is really to focus on the product side, right? And again, I'll just kind of rehash that, is provide a framework that would allow you to effectively validate your idea before you spend any money, right? Before you write any line of code. Put this idea through a rigor, because that's key, right? Everyone has a good idea, but if it isn't solving a real problem that someone's willing to pay for it, is it really a great idea? Asking your mom, asking relatives, they're 100% going to say, that's a great idea, baby. Go ahead out there, go do that, right? And so that's encouraging, that's stroking the ego. But when you're in the trenches and you're realizing that, it's not working, there are definitely some things that could have been done at the beginning that would help you to be set up for that.
Oh, there it is.
There we go. So, so one of the things we wanted to kind of showcase is, it's super simple, right, to start a startup and have a successful plan, right? And one of those things is, making it easy, making sure that you go out and do your research and validation and planning. understanding your target needs, create the problem that's addressing the need, and then making sure that you have, marketing plans and strategy and budget and so forth. And that should be it, right? And unfortunately, that's not the case. There are so many other things that are involved in, making a successful startup plan. There's so many intangible. There's things that, you're going to plan and think about that will take twice as long, cost twice as much, or maybe even 3 times as much, because, as an entrepreneur, you have this like internal being that you think that you can solve every problem, you can do everything, and it's simple, which is great, right? You want to embody that. We want you to embrace that superpower that you have as being an entrepreneur. But again, let's take the idea, let's drop it at the top, let's let it go through this framework. So at the end of that, you have this thumbs up that means that this is a great idea. It makes sense. It's solving a real world problem. And hey, you have an opportunity to create something for you, for your family, for your community that's, sustainable, and then also making a dent in this world.
Great.
So how do you do that? Right? That's the whole point of this, is like, why is Early Validation Academy here? Yep, let's go back. So our whole thing is we want to embrace and leverage this global, world, right? We can have this event right now, this webinar, and we want to open this opportunity for anyone, wherever you're located, to be a part of this, initial cohort, this pilot that we have for the Early Validation Academy. And so we're going to leverage a virtual format where we have 10 weeks where there's going to be programming really built to help you go through this framework, to help to arm you with the tools that is necessary to understand kind of some of the core things that you need to do once you have that eureka moment, that aha moment, right? I can, personally remember, for my company, actually, we're actually coming on a 10-year anniversary, believe it or not, next month in August. And I wrote this down because I knew I wanted to reflect on this personally. 10 years, August 23rd, 2013 is when I personally had that aha moment, right? And here we are, right? Now that was the idea, but when I started, when we wrote that first line of code, when we went out and built the team and did all that stuff, I mean, there was so many things that needed to happen before we did that. But it's, for me personally, that's the goal, is helping to provide a framework that makes it a lot simpler and easier to cut down that entrepreneur journey in a shorter amount of time, right? And so anyway, the format for this is going to be a 10-week virtual online program with check-ins twice a week, where we have the opportunity for some programming, some speakers that can come in and talk about different subjects for that week, have office hours where you can, schedule time with myself or Damon or some other folks on the team, maybe to kind of go through some things to that may not be clear to you or you're struggling with, or maybe there's introductions that you need, right? So we want to be here as a resource to help you, get through some of the early validation elements with regards to your idea. We're going to also have an online community. I skipped over that online community because, it's unfortunately, sometimes it can be lonely being a CEO, right? Think about all the things and ideas that you have to deal with, as a CEO, as that, entrepreneur. And so we want to build a community around you as a person to help support those things that are happening, because trust me, there's other folks that are scratching their head, that are going through the exact same, challenges and trials that you're going through. And so we want to build a community where you can ask questions and feel comfortable, talking to other folks, and as well as communicating outside of other set programming times and so forth. And the last thing is, our goal is at the end of this 10 weeks, there will be an opportunity to participate in the second annual One PHL Innovation Weekend, and we'll definitely provide more information on that. But think of that as an awesome 2-3 day event here, where we're really focused on innovation with different types of pitch competitions, programming, and investor community partners are coming out and supporting really the initiative of one PHL as a full community. And so now having Early Validation Academy, a part of that is just going to take it to that next level, right? Being able to be around, the Philadelphia community that's supporting this initiative, so that wherever you're coming from, you'll be able to take back and again, to build this, connected network globally. And so one of the things I wanted to briefly talk about, and you see on the other side, are some of the topics that we're going to be discussing, which are definitely key and paramount in this validation process. Founder problem fit. Are you the right person for this, right? Think about, you may have an idea, but you may realize that through this process that, hey, maybe based on whatever factors are going on, you may not be the right person to do this, or this may not be something that you're cut out to do. And so we want to be truthful and honest to kind of see that, hey, am I ready to embark on this 5, 7, 10-year journey to get to a point, and am I okay with that? Is it going to have an impact on my family? Is it going to have an impact on my support system that's around me? And so that's definitely something you want to keep in mind and really think about. Product design thinking, right? Figuring out as you're building, and prototyping this idea, you really want to think about it from a problem solving perspective and a design thinking perspective early on, versus just building a product and people will come, right? And so we want to again, based off of just some of the other team members and frameworks that are there, is really showcase why product is key. User interface, user design, keeping things simple, right? Being able to have things that allow you to test and validate, how and where people are interacting with your application. So there's going to be a good amount of time spent, around that. Also around, user validation and research. So I had this idea: is there other competitors that is doing this? Is there a subsection or a new category that I think you're able to embark a new idea on and really become focused on a certain niche, right? That old saying, there's riches and niches, right? That could be something where if you're doing great validation and research, there may be an opportunity or a gold mine for your idea to really hone in on and really scale up from that. And then lastly, ideation and prototyping. So if some of these terms, aren't are new to you, that's the goal, is really think about how do you continue to start with that why and then continue, right? To make sure that you're starting with the problem and working backwards, right? And ideating on different iterations of that kind of core problem thesis that you're setting out to solve for. And then again, taking that to the next step and building what would be a prototype, whether it's on paper, just to really be able to showcase and articulate the value prop of that idea. And so the goal is pretty simple. There's been accelerators and incubators and things that are out there that can help you along your journey as an entrepreneur. But we want to take it like at that very, very first phase when you're like, aha, I had this cool idea. And here's the reason why. And so now it's okay, where and how can I go put this idea through a process or framework, so that I know that after that process and framework that it makes sense, and I'm going to pursue that. So yeah, I mean, that's it. We wanted to really allow you guys, like Damon said, if there's any questions, we'll open it up to that. But we're excited, right? We think this is definitely can be a system. I honestly, and I go back to 2013, like, I would have loved to have something like this, because the time, the money, the mental effort that I had to exalt to kind of to get to that next level, right? Like that's draining at times, right? And so what better way than learn from someone that's done it, whether they're one step ahead of you or 10 steps ahead of you, like all of that knowledge, right? We want to really distill that down to, like, step one. And so that's the goal. And I'm excited to be a part of this, especially as a person I'm still on the journey and also learning on a daily basis. So that's it. So yeah, we'll definitely open up if anyone has any questions. We'll do our best to fill those now, and go from there.
Rudy, 1 minute before we open up the Q&A, I did
Go for
want to remind folks that the second phase of the program in that in-person demo weekend, so as Rudy was alluding to, we're coming up on our second annual Innovation Weekend, the One Philadelphia Innovation Weekend. And it's packed with a ton of events. We're constantly adding things and planning for that weekend. But the plan is to bring in companies that make it through the Early Validation Academy, some selected companies that complete the program requirements. You'll be invited to Philadelphia to pitch your idea to a panel of investors, mentors, and potential partners. We're in one of our partners in this process is Comcast NBC Universal Lift Labs, and we'll be actually hosting the demo day at their location at the Comcast Technology Center here in Philadelphia. If you haven't, had the opportunity to go to the new Comcast Tech Center, it's an amazing building. The setup for the Lift Lab is a really cool environment. We've done some workshops there, but it's a really cool environment to be in, a lot of good energy, and it'd be a great place to, express your ideas, the things that you validated in the process that you've gone through. And not to mention, all of those organizations that are selected to attend the event at the Comcast Lift Labs here in Philadelphia will also receive a $10,000 equity-free grant as a part of your participation in that in-person demo weekend. So don't want you to forget, there is an opportunity for you to walk away with some cash to help launch that startup, the idea that you have. So now we'll open it up. If anyone has any questions, any thoughts that they want to put into the chat, feel free to type them in, and I'll be able to read them out to Rudy. He'll be able to see them as well, so that we can go ahead and address those.
One thing I'll add to that is that the Innovation Weekend is what is that, like November 6th, I believe? Is that
November 9th to the 11th?
9th through 11th. Sorry, yeah, good. I think we nailed it, huh? If you don't have any questions.
We got it down. Yeah, no. And of course, as a reminder, because some folks may be watching this on a replay, the video will be posted to our One Philadelphia YouTube webpage. So if you have some people that you think this might be a good program for them to be involved in, if you have some folks in your network, some other entrepreneurs that you've been working with or connected to that you'd like to recommend to participate in the program as well, we'll be sending out some additional email information in regards to next steps as far as registration is concerned. If you registered for the info session, but you haven't registered for the actual program, make sure you go to the EVA Academy registration page and register through that as well. My contact information, of course, has been on the webpage, in addition to some of the emails that you received. If you have any questions as we lead up to the actual start of the program, feel free to reach out. You'll be continuing to receive that drip content that Rudy has been tirelessly working on, really some really good information for budding entrepreneurs to kind of think through their process as we lead up to this. And if there are any questions, feel free to reach out. We'll be continuing to send out more information, and we're really excited about the opportunity that we have here to work with all of you. And the opportunity for you to launch a startup that could, be the next shining star in the city of Philadelphia or wherever you may be located as well. So really excited about the process.
It looks like we have one question just to clarify the date. So that the 8/21 is, I believe that's a Monday. So it looks like programming is going to happen on Tuesday, which is the 22nd. So that's going to be the first official day, but we're definitely going to provide some more information, as we get a little bit closer to that. So the goal for tonight was really to hop on, to ask to get some questions and to kind of help give you guys an outlook on, or preview rather, of what the format's going to be, starting that 8/22, which is in August. So we're almost about a month out, from now. Happy birthday to me. It's the 22nd. Well, happy early birthday, Shannon. We appreciate it. Hopefully we won't take too much of your time that day. So, and we appreciate you guys, hopping on and on a Tuesday night and learning. So that's, honestly, that's step one in dedication of learning and being able to go and acquire, information that's going to help you to again pursue your business, pursue your idea. So kudos to you guys, taking some time to do this on a Tuesday night, wherever you may be.
Absolutely. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up. Again, like I said, the recording of this will be available on the One Philadelphia YouTube page. If you want to share it with some folks in your network, if you think anyone else
Please
might
do.
be interested in this, please share that information. This is a great opportunity. Again, One Philadelphia's focus is to make Philadelphia the capital of equitable tech and innovation, but ultimately we want to see underrepresented tech founders find their way to launching successful startups. And we believe that the Early Validation Academy is a way to get you there if you haven't begun that process already. So again, thank you again for your participation. Thank you again for coming out. Rudy, thanks again for your time. Really looking forward to working with you all, and we will be in touch. Thanks again.
Have a good night, guys. Take care.
Take care.